Alright, we're on the draw in match 1 of this league with Chart and Shoal Delver. This hand looks quite nice. I can roll with this. Shoal definitely is nice on the draw. It's one of those cards that can kind of put you on the pseudo play, like I think it's Gemstone Caverns, Simian Spirit Guide, debatably even Mox Opal, that kind of thing, where you just give up some card advantage and you get a mana advantage or a tempo advantage. I'm going to keep this. I'm excited to see how it turns out. The opponent has a basic island and a Serum Visions. That could be many... Oh, we have to respond to this because we have Disrupting Shoal in our hand. That kind of sucks. Hopefully the opponent doesn't figure out that that's significant. If they go Goblin Electromancer or Baral next turn and it turns out they're on Storm, we can bolt something. Otherwise, we're probably going to fetch something tapped with a Misty. Island Serum Visions can be a lot of blue decks. It basically just disqualifies Merfolk. Stomping Ground. That's actually what I was thinking of fetching out. So I think if they play something boltable, we're going to grab a Steam Vents. Verdant Catacombs. Okay. This can still be a lot of decks. It would be neat if it's Sultai. It's a Sultai something. We cannot bolt Tarmogoyf, so that's relevant. Jace Vryn's Prodigy, that's fantastic. If this was a Tarmogoyf, we'd probably shoal it. As is, we're going to kill this and then play a Goyf of our own. Let's grab that Steam Vent. Bolt. Definitely want to kill Jace against the Jace decks. Well, these kinds of Jace decks. I wonder if they're playing Big Jace as well, because that's a pretty big enabler for those kinds of decks. I'm not sure which green source we want to play out. They haven't given us any reason to assume they're on Path to Exile, so I think fetching out a forest is fine. If we saw white in either of those lands, I'd be a lot more hesitant to grab the basic out of my deck. Then again, we have 3 more, so it's not a huge deal. It's probably more likely that, that the life comes up. Ooh, that's something I probably just want to send to the opponent's face. We're going to pay shock here and hold up Mana Leak. Probably should have played out the Steam Vents, actually. Probably should have played out the Steam Vents. We now have a 3-turn clock with Mana Leak up. That's something I don't hate. The opponent missed their 3rd land drop, which is fantastic. They also didn't play anything, which is double fantastic. Well, for us at least. Probably bad for them. Oh, this could be a Liliana of the Veil. Please be a Liliana of the Veil. Come on, you can do it, opponent. You tapped the right colors. Yes. That's just all kinds of amazing for us. That's going to make this a 6-7. And we have a Lightning Bolt in our hand. The opponent's currently at 9. Well, Disrupting Shoal on its new debut made sure to do absolutely nothing. And another Tarmogoyf. That's cool. They could have... Oh, that was actually somewhat a misplay. We should have played the Steam Vents and paid shock, just in case the opponent has a Slaughter Pact. We're also going to remedy that in case they... Pact of Negation doesn't matter, but still, completeness sake, we'll play the land. Should have played the Steam Vents just in case, because then we could shoal for 0, counter that, Goyf connects, they're dead, yada yada yada. Let's head to the sideboard. Sultai with Jace Vryn's Prodigy. I don't know what we're up against. I feel like I'm going to want counterspells, though. Or maybe I don't. Maybe we should assume we don't want counterspells. Most matchups with this deck, when I was throwing together my sideboard plan... Actually, let's bring that over here so I can explain while I show. Most matchups are either blue or green. Blue means you want Disrupting Shoal, and green means you want Bloodbraid Elf. The mid-range and control decks, you cut the counterspells, you board in your mid-rangey stuff. The other ones, you cut... Well, you don't do much cutting, actually, in the blue matchups, because we're basically pre-boarded for these kinds of decks. Humans actually isn't a shoal matchup. I tried it very briefly and realized I was kind of an idiot. because I boarded out a bunch of the blue cards that are bad against them, and Shoal was really bad, so this actually should be highlighted such that it needs work. Colorless Eldrazi is the other matchup that's highlighted because I have no idea what I'm doing there. And then you have Adnaz and Lantern, which are blank because... Oh, and Titan Shift, because I don't really like Shoal and I don't really like Bloodbraid. I didn't do any of the other decks. This is what we have so far. So basically, I'm trying to figure out if this is a Shoal matchup or a Bloodbraid matchup. And I think because it's Sultai and we saw Liliana, they're probably on a mid-range deck. So I probably want the mid-range cards. Even though Mana Leak was nice there, that's not usually how fighting Liliana works out for us. We might keep the Spell Snare. Probably want to cut one Stubborn Denial. We may or may not cut cantrips. Bolt effects have targets. Echoing Truth is probably not going to be great. Blood Moon sounds fantastic. Dismember, Vendilion Click. We're basically sideboarding how I would sideboard. Where are the Artifact Hate? What happened to my Artifact Hate? There's Revelry, and Grudge is over there. I see you trying to sneak in. 5 more cards have to go. We have 30 seconds. We'll cut more counters. I'm probably fine cutting all of the denials, especially since we're on the draw, and we want Bloodbraid to be as good as possible. I kind of want to keep my Thought Scours. Mana Leak goes. That is 60 cards. We no longer have any counter spells, which I'm assuming the opponent's going to expect and play around. Oh, that's another fun thing we can do. In Game 1, they see counter spells, and they assume we're on a counter spell deck. And then in Game 2, they're gone. That's a fun little trick we can pull off. This hand is bad. This hand is all kinds of bad. This is a very easy mulligan. We have 2 4-drops, 3 2-drops, and what right now looks to be an actual 6-drop. We'll probably have 2 cards in the graveyard by the time we end up casting this, so maybe it's just a 3rd 4-drop. We also don't have access to blue, which is generally bad for us. This hand is significantly better, even though it's not great. Yeah, you know what? We're going to top that. That's probably fine. Mandrills is a threat. We're expecting discard. Well, they didn't play it, but I'm still going to expect it. I still think it's pretty likely the opponent's on a discard deck. Let's lead on a fetch land. We don't have a turn 1 play, so we're probably going to get something tapped. Maybe just a basic forest if we want to play around our own Blood Moons. We might even just not fetch here. I don't hate drawing my 4th land post-board because of the configuration we have. So I don't think I even actively want to thin the deck. Jace here would be a lot more backbreaking for us. Tarmogoyf, still very good. We're going to have to rely on that engineered explosives. We might just chart a course next turn. That actually seems very good. Now we're definitely doing it. I'm going to grab a basic forest, conserve our life total for a bit. The opponent's kind of the beatdown. We hit 4th land and Serum Visions. What don't we want? I want Mandrills because we're going to at least slow them down on the ground a little bit. I want this. Do I want Chart, of course? We're probably dropping Chart and a land. Next turn, we can play either Mandrills, Delving 3, or we can play Visions plus EE on 2. We could even play Click, which means Stomping Ground is the land that we're going to bin. Oh, it's 1. It's 1 card. That's fantastic. I forgot. It's not just a much worse Faithless Looting. Cool. Maybe in that case we bin the Chart. Keep the land. I think I would bin the Chart if I knew my cards well enough to know what Chart actually does. Fortunately, we didn't put anything in the graveyard that wasn't already there. That's a Dark Confidant. Okay, well, we're going to play the Engineered Explosives because I would love to get rid of those. We also probably want a Visions as our 1-drop of choice. Blood Moon. Okay. Dismember actually seems kind of good, even though we're going to deal with both of these creatures. I kind of want Tarmogoyf as well. What are we doing next turn? We're probably not slamming Blood Moon. We probably want to end up using this EE, which means unless we bottom both of these, we're not going to have 4 lands at all because we're going to know what we draw. So I think I want the Dismember on top, since we can theoretically cast that in addition to something else. Let's pay shock. Blue, green, X is 2. Head over to the opponent. We're definitely not winning, but we have quite a few cards in hand. The opponent not playing around Blood Moon makes me pretty happy. Sooner or later, that card might be good. Oh, Delta off of Bob, okay. I was not sure for a second why we were allowed to know about a Delta. If that doesn't get an island or a swamp, Blood Moon's probably going to look decent. We do have a lot of blue cards in hand. I would like to get the click out of here before I cast that Blood Moon. Blood Moon also just doesn't look very good right now. Jace actually seems like a bit of a pain here for us to deal with too. We're not in a good spot. Yep, there's Jace. Okay, so that might Fate Seal our Dismember. Let's see if they care about that. They probably don't. I imagine the opponent would actively want us to draw that now that they have Jace in play. So we're probably going to end up popping the EE, playing out a Mandrills. What did they do? Oh, they actually bottomed it. Okay, we'll draw a Tarmogoyf. We're going to pop this EE, delve away everything to play a Mandrills, and then next turn we'll go for click. That's probably just what we have to do. I believe we're locked into cracking this. I guess we could play out a creature and hope to hold these off, but I'm assuming the opponent's Sultai deck with 4 cards in hand and a Jason play is going to have a removal spell next turn. So I don't think playing a creature to slow them down is very good. One thing we could do is chart a course to try to churn through some more cards and hope that one of the top 2 cards is a land. That's a bit more high risk, though. I might just do that. I think I want to do that. If we hit a land, we get to pop this, and we're in a decent spot. Jace is still going... You know what? We have to deal with this Jace as soon as we can. Next turn, we need to be playing either 2 threats or click on their end step. So how are we going to do this? We pop this now, we play a threat. They either unsummon or kill it. I think that's actually pretty good. Even if they Liliana, or they just have something like a Maelstrom Pulse, I think that's fine. I want to play to the board a bit more because we need to deal with that Jace. The opponent's at 17. We're not killing them anytime soon. If we let that Jace stay in play for, say, the 5 turns that it would take Mandrills to clock them, even more if we're not playing to the board, we're going to be in a bad spot. That's fine. We lost our graveyard, but that's a-okay. Tarmogoyf, sure. That explains why they took Dismember. Second Bob, that's pretty good. 4th land, okay. Well, all of our cards are now super live. We can Blood Moon them. We no longer have a 1-drop to play, but we can Blood Moon them. You know what? 2-drop plus Chart is probably ever so slightly better. Discard. There aren't any instants in the bin yet. So I think it's probably Thought Scour. You know what? We'll bin a Mandrills. That's fine. I don't want to grow the Tarmogoyfs because their Goyfs look much better than our Goyfs right now. They have a Liliana that's going to be cast here because we didn't Blood Moon, but I don't think playing Blood Moon is that great of a line anyways. I think we're really just between a rock and a hard place here. If we play Moon, we no longer can click. We're going to give up that. Yeah, I think we were just too slow here. Which could be an omen that maybe we shouldn't be sideboarding like this. Maybe you do want to have more counter spells and the like for these Planeswalker decks. I don't know. Inquisition. Well, the cat's out of the bag. They don't know about Bloodbraid Elf yet, so that's something. I'm not entirely sure I'd play it if we drew it. Maybe we should just be scooping soon. There's not that much information for us to hide, though, and we're not totally out of this. We're just almost certainly out of this. We're going to 4 here. They have 2 Planeswalkers in play. We're dead, right? We can play 2 creatures. We can also Serum Visions. We're going to start there. We drew an island. That's a redraw with Thought Scour. But that redraw doesn't really help us because we're still just playing these 2. The opponent ticks this up. We discard something. They can bounce something. That means they push through at least the Bob. So we go down to 2. They can also animate this. We're very dead. Before we scoop, we're going to see if we can mill anything of note. Snapcaster Mage Island. Those are things I think we can assume they were playing. Let's head back to the sideboard. Do we want to make any changes? I could see 1 to 2 denials. These definitely look better on the play. Echoing Truth looks much better against Jace. Don't know if I'd want it. I don't think I'm going to run the dedicated sweepers. They could have been okay that game, but I think they're still just bad. Is there anything worse than these 2 stubborn denials? Fourth Mandrills is debatably clunky, but the graveyard's going to fill up quite quickly. Dismember evidently is at least decent against them. Maybe it's one of the charts. I could live with that. Don't really want to cut a Thought Scour, but I could probably live with it. Maybe we just want 1 denial. I want Thought Scour to help us hit our land drop so we can slam our top end on time. Maybe Collar's not that good. We saw Tarmogoyfs. That's the only thing I really care about in terms of Collar. Life totals probably aren't huge. We saw them beat us in the race that game, but they were also beating us in terms of inevitability, so they were basically just beating us all together. Maybe this isn't a Collar matchup. They don't have that many fatties. It's probably 4 Goyf, 4 Bob, 4 Jace, some Planeswalkers, draw spells, a bunch of removal. Let's do that. Let's cut 1 of each of those, make room for a couple of these. If we hit them off of Bloodbraid, I'm going to be sad. But these are our only 2 absolutely garbage hits. Dismember, EE, not great. You know what? Hitting EE off of Bloodbraid in this matchup also is pretty well just terrible because I don't think they're running any 0 CMCs. This hand's gas. This is what I want to see. 1 drop, 2 drop, 2 drop, 4 drop. Let's see if we can hit that 4th land by the time Bloodbraid is castable. Against mid-range decks like this, I just want to see action. You know what? We'll start off on a Steam Vents, but we're totally playing around Blood Moon here. I want to go play a threat, they kill it, play another threat, they kill it, play a threat, they kill it, maybe play a threat that 2-for-1s them, start to win on that front, and just have the top of the deck be extremely live. Another Serum Visions, Fatal Push, sure. Lightning Bolt. That's not bad. That's not bad. Let's grab a basic forest. They might end up playing around Blood Moon because we showed them that, but this is the point where we probably need to get those basics. Serum Visions, sure. Probably doing that before playing their land just to see what their options are. I like the Goyf's a 4-5. Ooh, we're going to play that. We're definitely playing that as the land for turn. Let them be a little less scared of Blood Moon. We're going to start by swinging. If we're expecting Spell Snare, we should play the Goyf pre-combat. No, doesn't matter. There's already a creature. Not an instant, though. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. We're going to play the second Tarmogoyf. They could pulse us, but that's probably acceptable. We might also want to have Lightning Bolt up. Our life total isn't super relevant. I'm not going to have Lightning Bolt up. That's probably fine. If they play a Bob or a Jace, I'm going to be a little sad. Otherwise, I just don't care. Is this actually Spell Snare? Nope. Oh, that's not fun. Well, we can cut them off of blue. They had the pulse. Well, oh my, we play that first, right? Cut them off of Liliana and all the blue cards. We're playing that first. This is going to cut us off of Vendilion Click. But that is all. We're going to hold up Lightning Bolt with that Breeding Pool Mountain, just in case they have Bob. We also might just bolt them in the face. Yep, I am known to enjoy a good bolt to the face. Is Bob on our side? No, it's gonna block Bloodbraid. We should kill it. Sorry, Bob. Visions. I think I'd rather play this. It happened. It happened. We're gonna actually decline to cast that. Since it does basically nothing here, I'd rather have it back in the deck. To be fair, Blood Moon means that fetch lands are going to be pretty well offline. So it's not huge that that's on the bottom, but still it's something. I don't think they want to use Fulminator to blow up a land. They probably want to trade with Bloodbraid. Lightning Bolt, we could force them to blow up a land. Let's start here. Denial, not what we want at this point. Neither is the 6th land. I'll play out my mountain. If we bolt this, they're going to blow up one of our lands, but we actually don't care about that very much because we'll have 4 anyways. So I think I'd rather trade Bolt and one of these for the Fulminator than this. That's probably perfectly acceptable. Yep, you got it. Fizzle my Bolt. Fortunately, Bloodbraid's gonna bolt them instead. Oh, Bloodbraid's kind of like an Isochron Scepter with a Lightning Bolt imprinted on it right now, and that's kind of neat. I think that's neat. If they ever find a Tarmogoyf, we're gonna be in trouble. Ooh, second Swamp, that's big. That is big. Okay, that's not quite as scary as the other Liliana. They might get Fulminator back. That's something. They could also dig for a Goyf. That's probably the play. I don't think they want to go for plussing on the Fulminator. I don't think that's quite as good. What do I know? Lightning Bolt. We could finish off Liliana. That's probably what we want to do. Means Bloodbraid's going to be bigger going forward. Pay red. I would love to redirect. Once Dominaria comes out and they change the rules for damaging Planeswalkers, I'm probably going to blow... Our opponent says we had a nice draw. Well, thank you, opponent. I'm probably going to blow a good 3 or 4 games because I bolt the opponent instead of the Planeswalker. Serum Vision's cool. I'm down for that. We're slowly moving that EE back up. Bobble I probably just don't want because it's going to slow down my draws. Let's hit for 3. Bolt face. I actually think Lightning Bolt was one of our lesser draws there, given that we could have hit an actual Haymaker, but I'm not going to complain about dealing with their Planeswalker. That's at least adequate. Maelstrom Pulse on the Blood Moon. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Gonna unlock things like Jace. It'd be really funny if they played Jace the Mind Sculptor and unsummoned Bloodbraid. There's no way they're gonna do it, but I would laugh. This might be another Liliana. Maybe it is Jace. It's Ashiok. Okay. They're gonna take our Delver. Sure. They took 2 Delvers. Exile stuff. -1 for Delver, and then they have a Delver. Exile, a bunch of stuff. Okay, so we're going to hit them instead of Ashiok. That's basically what we wanted to do. We wanted to make sure... Alright. That works for me. Oh, they're probably going to scoop before we get to do this. Oh, that's not fun. If MTGO allows us to draw cards, we're going to find out what we hit. Not Huntmaster. Not Flooded Strand. Thought Scour. Nice. What do we mill ourselves for 2. Mandrills and Mandrills go away. We draw... What do we draw? We draw a land. That's lame. We still hit them for 6 down to -1, but that's kind of lame. Anyways, Bloodbraid Elf. Fun card. Gotta say, I enjoy being able to play Bloodbraid Elf in my Delver deck. If we had something like 20-25 cards worth of a sideboard, I'd probably board out the Delvers as well and just have a Delver deck and then a mid-range deck, because If I could play dedicated Temur midrange in the matchups where it's good, that sounds like a lot of fun. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.